Welcome to Tuesday with Terry, the podcast for getting your mind, business, and life in shape. Hosted by Terry Blachek, one of the original area developers for Orange Theory Fitness, who helped launch the brand from the very beginning. He'll use his years of experience to help you shape up your mind, build strong relationships with your teams, revamp your business processes, and set down the path towards success in all aspects of your life.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday with Terry. My name is Terry, and we're talking to you live from Austin, Texas, where the sun is hot, the barbecue is sweet, and all the drinks are free. You come on over and give us a visit, get a good workout over here at Orange Theory Fitness. We'd love to have you and be our guest. Boy, do I have something exciting for you guys today. I have another guest today, and it's always my pleasure to not only bring in my guests, professionals, and business partners, but even more so my friends to the table and talk to them. I'm here with Terry Dezutti. Yep, you heard it right. Terry Dezutti. So Terry, welcome to Tuesdays with Terry. And it's Terry Dezutti, not Terry Blachek, but we got Terry 1, Terry 2, Terry 3 here. So welcome to the podcast, Terry.
Great to be here. Great to be in Austin.
Yeah. So, you know what? A funny story about Terry. You're a fitness guy, right? Fitness industry guy, business guy, ran companies. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I've been in the fitness industry for 45 years as a leader. Been in a best practices group called Rex for 25 years. Speaker in the club industry, former CEO of Merit Athletic Clubs for 20 years. Worked in the hospital and food and beverage space, leading teams, and have been a VP of American Leisure in New York City, where we had, as a company, over 70 locations.
Well, I think that's probably where I first met you. I was in New York working for a company called The Fitness Company. You were working for American Leisure, and we would both compete for management contracts. And either I would be going in and Terry would be coming out, or Terry would be coming in and I'd be going out, and one of us would be sitting in the lobby with the coffee tables. And I used to hate this guy. I couldn't stand this guy. It's because he was my competitor. You know, I was like, oh my gosh. And sure enough, as we went to industry shows and started getting to know each other, which is a lesson in of itself, right?
Oh, yeah.
What you think about people and what they really are really two different things. But how long did you work for American Leisure?
6 years. And I always say, if you network with your peers, you learn from those who deal with similar problems faster. And that's what my relationship with Terry has been.
So how have you done that? You know, not just with me, but with other folks. How do you try to network with your peers, Terry?
So a lot of different ways. Go to networking groups, get involved in industry, speaking, and collaboration teams to find best practices. I think being strategic takes many minds. So in order for the team to make it happen, you have to get team involvement and buy-in. And so in order to do that, you have to give them different alternatives to look at. And I think by networking in the industry and finding others who have been through similar growth modes, it just makes everything expedited.
How do you find those people? So one is going to industry trade shows, right? So that's good. You go to the industry trade show, and if you do it a while and you become an expert, you become a speaker, and so a lot of people want to talk to you. So that's always a good way. But what are other ways to get connected to folks or find best practices? How do you do that?
Well, for example, I'm in a round table in the industry, and there's usually 15 to 20 other leaders from around the world. And it's funny how everybody leads in a different fashion, and everybody tries new and entrepreneurial things, and you get to learn from that. And then while you're learning from that, you make friends, you engage, you talk through things, and you share. If they give you something, you give something back.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's and I'm part of that. We've been on the round table. You've been on it longer than me. I think you're one of the original guys from the round table. I think I've been on it for 17 years. How many years you been on it?
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years. That's awesome. So network functions, roundtables, you know, they have YPO groups. They have even local groups like BNA groups, you know.
Sure.
You can get involved in local groups like that. But let me ask you, this is just a kind of off the cuff question, but staying relevant and staying, you know, one is staying connected, but how do you stay relevant in the industry, in the business arena? How do you stay relevant, Terry? What do you do?
Well, I use a number of things. I feel like you can never stop learning, and you have to read, everything you can get your hands on within that industry, current periodicals, find out who's doing new and different things and succeeding, reach out to them. I think also the buddy system of getting referrals, people who know people who can put you in contact with them. And so I like to go to a lot of speakers. I like to just find out who, even in my hometown, is successful and go see what they're doing that makes a difference in that market.
Yeah. So, in our roundtable, we have those trios, right? Trios, and then there's frequency of those calls. Maybe speak a little bit about that, how that works, and maybe how you, if I was a business person, if I was a sales guy, if I was a up and comer, mover, shaker, how could I put a trio together that could help me start to network? What is the trio first, I guess?
Well, the trio is you might get a group of 3 people in a like business and go through similar questions. And one of them might be, where are you struggling? And in what particular area? And in clubs, there are so many different hats that we wear. You might be in charge of food and beverage one day. You might be in charge of the spa the next day. And so you get a very cross-trained challenge put in front of you, and if people have had those similar problems before and you can learn from them, you can maybe shortcut some of the pain.
So if you have a group of 3 people, you can start to build relationships, you can start to trust them, and you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm failing. You feel like you can trust them and say, hey, this is something that didn't go well. Did any of you 2 other people have a experience in that? And then it's a shared experience, right?
Correct. So you're going to meet with them maybe for 30 minutes to an hour to brainstorm, to work through, to maybe come out with some kind of success plan to whatever it is you're building, growing, make that happen faster and better. So they become really your sounding board.
I talk a lot about a personal advisory board. So this is could be something like that, a personal advisory board. Do you have a personal advisory board, Terry, outside of, work, or is there a group of people that you go to that you try to throw ideas, you try to throw, issues that you're struggling with? Do you have a group of people like that? And if so, what's the framework of that?
Well, I've been lucky to have several mentors over time, people who have more experience than me, who maybe I worked for or I met through other organizational meetings, and just book time with them to sit down and talk through, how we can both learn from one another and further along progress with whatever it is we're working on.
So taking and I'll just say this, it sounds like taking a position of humility that I don't know at all, looking at somebody else that's been down that path before and asking them for counsel, advice, or recommendations. Is that fair?
Sure. I always say listen, learn, and observe from others in the industry. I mean, that's how you become knowledgeable, and usually if you're passionate about what you do, it sparks some kind of entrepreneurial edge in that industry.
That's awesome. So, you've held a lot of great positions, vice president positions, CEO positions. You've run companies. You've helped build companies. Leadership, right? It's a lot about leadership. And so what are a couple things that you look at about leadership? What are some principles that you try to live your business, your professional life around? How do you build great teams? How do you build dream teams? Maybe speak a little bit to that.
I think there's 3 or 4 things that I really try to focus on. My willingness to try something new. There's no right way to do a good thing. Golden rule, treat people better than they treat you. And then don't deal with, bad people. Being strategic. Failing to plan is planning to fail. And then I have 4 E's that I use. Energy, to cope with change. Edge, the ability to make tough calls. Energize, the ability to excite and promote. and then execute, the ability to deliver and never disappoint your clientele.
Now, those are awesome. So let's try to dig into those just a little bit,
Sure.
right? So you got 5 E's. They all start...
Four E's.
4 E's, sorry. I can't count. But 4 E's. And so the first one is what?
Energy.
So tell me about that. How can I use energy as a leadership skill?
Well, you get hit, a lot of times with a problem or something that your people are watching you. So it's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you handle it. It's the way you react, because you're like an image that runs the company. And so if you're up and you're happy, the company's up and the company's happy. If you're stressed and you're down, those same people see that and they're worried.
So self-awareness of your energy level, your poise in the position that you have. I think that's great. E number 2.
E number 2 is edge. You have to have...
I'm edgy guy. Sometimes I can be edgy. Is that what you're talking about, being edgy, or what do you mean?
Well, sometimes you have to make the tough call. Everybody's waiting for you to make the decision. So a lot of times to get buy-in, I'll present the problem, go through the problem, talk about what I'm going to do, ask if anybody has any ideas or other recommendations, and then I'll make the call. So what I want to do is I want to get the whole team to buy into it, because they've had the opportunity to get involved, and if they don't have anything to add or they don't have a point of view that benefits the company, then I need them all to buy into the direction that we're going to go.
Yeah, so that's what gives you the edge. The edge is what give you, where you have a problem, you solicit feedback from the team. So somebody comes into your office with a problem. One of the quick ways you can handle that in leadership is by saying, how do you think we should handle that problem? You kind of throw, you've heard that in sales, the porcupine, but how do you throw that back? Don't bring me a problem, but bring me a solution along with something like that. And then the other one you mentioned, and I've heard this coined this way, is 3 before me. You talk to 3 people and get their feedback before I make the final decision on it. So pretty cool stuff. Gives you the edge. Number 3. E. You
energize your ability to excite. You're gonna kick something off. Either you go big or you go home. I mean, if you're gonna do a party, don't do a small party. Do a big party. If you're gonna kick off a program, don't shoot for 5 people. Shoot for 50 people. So whatever you do it in a way that you're going to be proud of.
Yeah, thinking bigger. You got to think bigger. You got to take the blinders, pull them back, start thinking a little bit bigger, whether it's number of people, whether it's number of contacts, whether it's number of dollars for your business, even your own personal income, right? Everybody put a zero on it.
And if you go big and you do it right, people are going to talk about it, and that's going to maximize your community involvement.
Sounds great. And the 4th E?
The 4th E is to execute. So to execute, you have to have a plan, and then you have to work your plan. So it's the ability to deliver the results you're looking for in a timely fashion, which timely is the key.
Yeah, listen, everybody's got a new idea, right? I hear that all the time. Oh, I got an idea about this. Oh, I got an idea about that. I go, don't give me an idea. Tell me a way I can do what we currently do, but get it done. Do it better. I don't need a new idea. I need you to do the things that we've got out here, right? It's the basic fundamentals, blocking and tackling. Let's really focus on the fundamentals. Good stuff. Well, you know what Terry is, if I may say so, the president of Ace of Clubs. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, Ace of Club Consulting, yes. LLC.
Okay, so that's kind of a new venture for you. You're getting
just started a month ago after 45 years of working for the man. I think friends like Terry have convinced me to go out on my own, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. I think it's hard to go out on your own, right? It's difficult to do that, and I say this a lot. I wish that I had done that sooner in my career. I don't know how you feel about that, but now you look at where we are today and you go, how could I have done that sooner? But congratulations on starting Ace of Clubs. Is it Ace or Aces?
Ace of Clubs
Consulting. So you got your own consulting business. And if I was a health club guy, or a health club had a couple clubs, a single club, a group of clubs, what kind of services do you provide that would help me to run my business better?
Well, I would come in and work with you to audit and see where we're at, and advise and coach you to strategize and train up your people to promote the why of your business. Why are we in business? What are we here for? What are we so passionate about? And get everybody to be speaking the same language and grow their revenues and grow their business.
Well, everybody wants to do that, right? Everybody wants to grow the revenue. Everybody wants to have their people say the same things that the owners say. That's fantastic. And so how can people get a hold of you, Terry? If they needed to reach out and say, man, I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you offer or what the Ace of Clubs is, how could they get a hold of you?
They can either call me directly at 410-935-1970 or email me at terry@aceofclubconsulting.com.
That's fantastic. Well, once again, it's my pleasure to have you on, Terry. You're a great friend. That's more importantly than anything else to me. But you've been successful at business. I know there's a few listeners. I know there's a lot of listeners out there that could take advantage of some of the things that you have to say and some of the wisdom that you have to share. Thanks for being on the show. It's Terry and Terry. This was Tuesdays with Terry. Thanks for joining us today. And we'll see you next week on Tuesday with Terry.